Welcome back to the show, everybody. RWBY Volume 6, Chapter number 3, The Lost Fable. Yeah, I didn't expect to walk out of an episode of RWBY in deep existential thought about my own life, about life in general, but that's the power of storytelling. How I feel right now is what storytelling is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you think. It's supposed to make you consider, reconsider, and ultimately understand. And that's where I am right now. Like hearing that story, like puts a lot of things in my own personal life in some context. But let's talk less about me and more about this episode because I gotta say, even in deep existential personal thought, this episode has rocked everything I have ever said about this show, thought about this show. That I walked out of this episode more of a fan of this franchise than I ever was before. And all it took was once upon a time. I'm like, given the past couple of episodes, I've been giving the boy eyes the business. I skilled the nigga like the farmer. All that stuff, giving them the business. As I do that with my beard one time. Understanding that's a lot. Like, that is one hell of a burden to bear. That knowing that the world that you protect is in its position because somebody loved you. It's not even the fact of whatever the hell it is that Salem's doing, but everything that she does is driven by the simple rejection and understanding of the circle of life. And normally, if I wasn't trying to be so serious, I would start singing the circle of life, but I will save you that regardless. You have to sit up here every day for years and years and years and lifetime upon lifetimes upon lifetimes and knowing I played a part in this. However, directly or indirectly, that I played a part in it. And now, knowing this information, as much justification as keeping all that doom, gloom, and heartbreak to yourself, the good news is, I ain't got no excuse no more. None. Zero. Because, see, now, you have people that know the burden that you bear. And because they want to save this world too, they willing to bear that cross with you. And I really think that's the important thing to really take away from the episode here. Is that I knew that this was going to change things, but I didn't understand how much. We watched the world that RWBY fans love being built in front of our eyes. That having that truth is not something you can no longer shy away from or take back. It's something that we, as those who absorb this, have to accept. The squadron now has to accept this as what this is. And Osman now has to understand that you ain't gonna do this alone no more. Regardless of that. The most important thing, you still gotta take responsibility for holding on to this for this long and not trusting anybody else with it. I could turn around and say that, yeah, given all of this, everything that Osman has ever done has been majorly justified. Because love is a crazy emotion. This episode proves what it can do to you. It'll give you the power to do things you know you couldn't, and in some instances, things you wish you hadn't. And if you love someone, you've been there. And I've loved people, and I've been there. And I'm willing to sit up here live on the mic and admit it, because, yo, That brought a lot of human out of me watching this because you done been there. You got that secret that you wish you could tell people, and you hope it never come out. But if you trust somebody with that, you ain't got to roll that alone. But look at this world that we absorb, that we bring ourselves to. In that instance, in a storytelling instance, that we absorb this, because I'm gonna hit you on all ends. This world. Now you know there was a world before it. That, yeah. In the instance of understanding it from Salem's point of view, I attempt to see your justification for why you love someone with everything. But that circle, life indeed begets death, but in death becomes life, and that is the circle. That's why we live, and unfortunately we ultimately meet our demise, because that is the circle. That delicate, beautiful balance that we have. Let me scratch my shirt again. That delicate, beautiful balance that keeps everything in check. Try to slay it as we might. That's not a thing that we as human beings can do. We try to defeat it with the technology that we've garnered over thousands of years. Where we are now, extending life and doing all that old type of stuff. We, even just on some real things that I've noticed. You ever think about this stuff for a second, since I'm on this wave? Think about like how recently, over like the past maybe 15, 20 years for real, about how many zombie movies and how many vampire things have been on TV and in movies and things like that, to try to sit up here and to deal with mortality in a way that we can kind of accept. The zombie is the undead. Vampires don't die, but they can't go out in the sun or sometimes twinkle or something. It's our way of dealing with the inevitable. You know what I'm saying? And in this world, as we sit up here, legitimately look at it and think about it. Really take this episode, really absorb it, really legitimately understand where this is and where we sit and where you sit in the grand scheme of all this in your life. Because this made me seriously sit up there. I'm just sitting up here watching this, doing this, and I'm absorbing it. And it's like, I'm a different person from watching an episode of RWBY. Not a lot of people can really say that, but that's how deep my thought goes. That of understanding what this is. What has become all of the illusions that this episode presented is crazy. To see such a dynamic rise and fall of many men and women, that things are what they are. To understand and know that, again, like I said, justification granted, but justification still understood. But now you have no excuse. You now know what the play is. Everybody do. You know what's on the line, so you got to get up and do what needs to be done. What else can you do? We live in this understanding of knowing that, yo, what comes from here, it's gonna be the fight of your life. That go for show in real life, because again, circles. You ain't see the bottom part of that because of the camera, but you understand what I'm saying now. Existential slow clap, baby. Some of the best media I've watched in a long time. That episode made it worth it to be a fan of this franchise. Because that episode blew my mind. And now, the dynamics have changed. The tables have turned, darkness. No, I gotta inject a little comedy. I'm a little too serious. Gotta inject some comedy in here. But you see my point, though. I would like to like talk about like the illusions of spring maidens and things, and all of those type of stuff, and the god of darkness and light, and Salem's demise, and Ozpin reincarnating, and all the craziness that goes with it. I can see why you want to keep that buried, to keep that secret buried. Though, gee, I kind of see why. But this was a wonderful and great episode. I'm like, yo, it's been a very long while since an episode of RWBY has really put me in a place of really some real thought. And not like, and it's like there's a lot of shows that I watch that put me in that mode, that challenged me to think. And this was an episode that made me challenge me to think, because you try anything, but you won't give it up. What you won't do. See, I ain't finna bust that Pac on you. You tried everything, but you won't give it up. Love that song. Oh, rest in peace always, Pac. But yo, love make you do crazy things. Let that smooth taste fool you. We've all been there. Regardless of such, yo, we got more show for you. One more slow clap, cause yo, episode brought that heat and then some. But look, regardless of that, we got more show for you. Sit back, relax, stay tuned. You know I am the one and only Triple, the G.O.D, aka Yo Uncle Triple, live right here on Team DRF TV. And you know me and the squad, we always got what you need. And we will have more of that and then some after these commercial messages. Thank you very much, RWBY, for some amazing entertainment. More show after these commercial messages.